If you were granted the opportunity to live forever, how would you use your life? Would you use your powers to defend those close to you, ensure the prosperity of your people, or attempt to gain personal power? Today, I want to tell you about a man who was given that exact chance. A man who changed the world with his power. A man responsible for the death of millions. The year is 1 AR on the planet Galarian. A human man has used the power of an artifact known as the Star Stone to raise an island out of the sea. This island, known as the Isle of Kortos, would become the hub of the entire surrounding region, hosting the great city of Absalom, where hundreds of thousands of peoples would congregate and live prosperous lives. The man responsible for founding this great city is known as Aroden, the last Aslanti. Aroden was born into the Aslanti Empire. This, now fallen civilization, lives shrouded in mystery. Few things are known for sure about this human civilization, other than the fact that it was the first to live on its own. Located on the continent of Aslant in the Arcadian Ocean, the Aslanti grew quickly. Constant innovations of art, science, and culture caused the Aslanti Empire to rise to glory. Some say the Aslanti were even more advanced than modern Galarian cultures. Sadly, the leaders of Aslant grew arrogant, as successful rulers are wont to do. The Aslanti people were unaware that their success was not their own, but rather the inner workings of sinister beings known as Algolthu. Condemning the Aslanti for their insolence, the Algolthu summoned a large meteor to crash upon the continent of Aslant, sundering not only the Empire, but the entire surface of Galarian. The sun itself was blotted out for 1,000 years. This event became known as Earthfall, and that period of time is now known as the Age of Darkness. Up until Earthfall, Aroden had grown as a firm member of the Empire. A renowned blacksmith and swordsman, he aided in the defense of Aslant against a number of invading forces. Like the leaders themselves, Aroden grew proud, and some even say it was his fault that the Algolthu caused Earthfall. Aroden had created the Aslanti Diamond, a gorgeous diamond blade that was to be given to the next emperor of Aslant. Aroden, however, decided it best to keep it for himself, as he believed that he was deserving of the title Emperor. This showing of raw human pride may have been the last straw for the Algolthu below. Aroden survived Earthfall. He, along with other Aslanti survivors, made their way east to the continent of Avestan. There, they joined the remains of some Aslanti colonies also ravaged by Earthfall. Leading his people, Aroden re-established the Aslanti Empire, although only as a shadow of its former self. During this time, the former Imperial Guards became known as the Knights of the Aeon Star. These knights begot a prophecy known as the Starfall Doctrine. This doctrine marked Aroden as the embodiment of the last Aslanti, a mythical being who would defend the Aslanti Empire before disappearing. However, he would return and bring with him an age of glory. Whether this doctrine was truly mythical or by other means, Aroden was granted immortality. He ceased aging as the people around him grew old, intermarried with the Avestani people, and died, leaving Aroden as the only pure Aslanti left in existence. Over time, his need to expand the Aslanti Empire faded. His people were no more and were slowly absorbed into the cultures around them. He defended the last few Aslanti colonies from a demonic invasion, following the demon lord Ibderengian into the abyss to kill him. From here, Aroden stayed in the Great Beyond and learned of the worlds beyond his own. His mind expanded to accept the possibilities and philosophies of other planes of existence. Years later, with far more knowledge, Aroden returned to Galarian with a clear purpose in mind. to create a new destiny for all of humankind. Setting out on his personal journey, Aroden left for the nation of Shopatl. During Earthfall, a piece of the meteor fell into the mountains of Shopatl. It was soon found by heroes of the region, turning them into mighty beings nearing the power of the gods themselves. Using this power, Shopatl flourished in the Age of Darkness, while the rest of the planet fell into disarray. The arcane botanists of Shopatl created what are known as the Veins of Creation, infusing these ley lines with the godlike power of their heroes. These ley lines had a direct connection to the Kumaru tree, which flourished with the magical power flowing through it. When he visited Shopatl centuries later, it was to see these veins of creation for his own personal reasons. After years of living in Shopatl, becoming one with their culture, Aroden finally found his chance to visit the famous Veins of Creation. During his time studying them, he had an opportunity. He placed a fragment of his soul into the Kumaru tree, connecting himself directly to the Veins of Creation. From then on, the magic of these ley lines fed Aroden, granting him incredible magical powers. Over the next thousands of years, Aroden became a legend, conducting miracles and wonders around the Inner Sea region and making himself known to all. His most well-known miracle being the raising of the Isle of Kortos, though the island was not a shining gem when first created. Upon raising the isle from the depths of the sea, it was a slimy, dead, algae-covered rock. Aroden, planning to create a perfect home, sought a solution. He delved deep into the Darklands beneath the surface of Galarian, down to the deepest layer, known as Orv. Deep within this layer was a dense jungle known as Vask. A tribe of humanoids known as Zhulgoths called this jungle home. This underground jungle was sustained due to the powerful artifacts known as Aeon Orbs. Thanks to these orbs, flora bloomed throughout Vask without the need for sunlight. Aroden, knowing of the orb's powers, took it upon himself to liberate them from the Zhulgoths' possession. He succeeded. He left Vask to slowly rot away. Radioactive crystals began to form within the jungle, killing all life within it, until nothing was left but a deadly wasteland known now as the Black Sands. But Aroden's people cheered as their new god utilized these Aeon Orbs to sprout forests and plains across the once dead Isle of Kortos. It is here he founded the city of Absalom, on the corpses of thousands of creatures from the Darklands. Aroden declared himself the god of humanity, and the people could not argue his claims. People from across the region, Osirion, Kadira, Taldor, Cheliax, and more, all came to Absalom to worship him and see his miracles firsthand. Over the next centuries, Aroden cultivated his worship and his city of Absalom. But over time, he vanished, just as the Starfall Doctrine prophesied. He is only recorded to have appeared once over the next 4,000 years to assist Sarkoris in their war against the demon lord Deskari. Upon finishing this war, Aroden left again for the final time. The year is 4606. The Starfall Doctrine dictates that Aroden will return and bring with him the long-awaited Age of Glory. The land will flourish, the people will prosper, and all will be well. The Chelaxian government spares no expense, as their lands were foretold as Aroden's place of arrival. The people of the region gathered, prayed, and awaited the return of the god of humanity. Upon the hour of his arrival, Aroden did not appear. All at once, the world fell back into disarray. Storms raged across the planet for 3 unending weeks. The clerics of Aroden lost their magical abilities. Aroden's prophets lost any and all connections to the gods themselves, and no prophecy ever came true again. The god of humanity was dead. After 3 weeks of storms, each separate storm came together off the coast and became the Eye of Abendego, a permanent hurricane that still haunts the coast to this day. No one knows why, or even how, a god can die, but there was no evidence of Aroden's existence any longer. Cheliax, the country ready to receive their god, fell into nearly instant civil war as its cities began to blame and attack one another. Multiple countries, such as Lurgan and Yamasa, were flooded by the storms. The veins of creation, housing a fragment of Aroden's soul, died with him that day. Shopatl's golden age was at an end, and Aroden was cursed as the visitor who brought ruin to their land. The Inner Sea region fell apart that day. The Starfall doctrine was proven wrong, though it was correct about one thing. It was the beginning of a new age, not the age of glory that was promised, but an age of turmoil, political conflict, suffering, and new evil across the land. The age of lost omens had begun.